the necklace, or the references in the poems. I was doing this before my daughter was born. I had come across a school of research where essentially I learned that Saturn was the only planet in our solar system that could exist outside of our solar system because the center of the planet is so hot that it exists as if it had its own sun. So that Saturn, which has, right now they say it has 19 moons which circle it the same way we circle the sun. So that the reason why the center of Saturn is so hot, the center of the planet is so hot, and the center of our planet is hot too, but not as hot as Saturn's, right? And the reason why the center of the planet is so hot is because it's composed of what quantum physics calls chaos matter or dark matter, which those same elements in our ozone layer go by a different name. And that name is melanin. Melanin, one comes from the Greek term meles, which means black. At first it was thought of to be just this pigmentation thing, so that they would say it's responsible for all the color on our planet, whether that's plants or us or what have you. But it's deposited in the cerebral cortex, back in that, right here, brain. And it's also said to be responsible for like cultural retentions or what was the term used today? But different types of memory that exist within it. You remember the popular drug melatonin, which was this thing that was supposed to keep you awake and youthful. Like it's sort of like the philosopher's stone about this melanin and stuff. And but it is what makes people of color colorful. We're all people of color. So. Yes.
What poets influenced you the most?
The most?
Or like who you admire the most?
Well, the poets that influenced me the most would probably be like Rakim, Chuck D. I can't allow myself to feel corny for saying this. But as a kid, for some reason, I really gravitated towards Sade.
I understand that.
When I considered her pretty at the time, but it was also, I was an exchange student to Brazil when I was in high school. And I was playing the Paraná. And the small town. And when I was there, there was no school. School was on strike. So I learned Portuguese by translating Public Enemy and Sade lyrics in Portuguese. Just translate the songs in Portuguese. But Sade's lyrics were probably the first time I've really thought of song lyrics as poems, listening to her words. They just always felt so carefully chosen. To my young mind, there is a woman in Somalia scraping for pearls on the roadside. There's a force stronger than nature. Searching for crumbs on the roadside. There's a force stronger than nature. Keeps her will alive. This is why she's crying to survive. Don't know what she's made of. I wish I could be that way. She cries to the heavens above. There is a stone in my heart. She's living a life she didn't choose, and it hurts like brand new shoes. Wow. That would be a lot for me as a kid to take in. And the same sort of thing would happen with Rakim. I was telling the story earlier, like when his second album came out, I remember the first single was Follow the Leader. And I remember listening to the radio, like all me and my friends had all gathered, like, you know, around, you know, whatever station it was at the time, like, the hip-hop station in New York at the time was KISS FM, 98.7 KISS FM. Like, world premiere of Rakim at 8 o'clock. And we're all gathered around the radio, you know, and the song comes on, he's like, follow me into a solo, get in a flow, and you can picture like a photo. Music makes mellow, maintains to make melodies for MCs, motivates the breaks them everlasting. I can go on for days and days with rhyme displays and engraved, heap of sex phrase. I can take a phrase that's rarely heard, flip it, now it's a daily verb. I can get iller than all the killing involved with double alarm, Rakim will remain calm. Self-esteem make it super superb and supreme before a microphone, still I fiend. This was a break, I was supposed to break, I was supposed to wait, but let's motivate. I want to see who keeps biting and borrowing, taking and making something, biting and borrowing. Brothers trying, others dying to get the point, but whatever, whatever, right? I remember hearing, you know, that verse, and that whole song, and we taped it off the radio immediately. And then tape it, you know, and then, there were 2 world premieres I remember like that. One was Follow the Leader, and one was KRS-One's second album. When he came out, both of those albums came out delayed, and in both instances we taped it off the radio and then pulled out our notebooks and wrote down the verses so we could read them. KRS-One's was like, I remember his was so cool because it was just this beat, and it was like, you know, they didn't announce that it was the new KRS-One single, but they played it at the world premiere time, and so the beat started, it was like, dun dun dun, and he was like, da 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 da, and he was the only one like freaking the like Jamaican style and hip hop at the time. So like, is this KRS-One? And then all of a sudden he's like, what was it? Oh, I want to remember this verse. I just remember it starts on and on and on and on and on. Yo, let's get specific. The style is for the gifted, poetically uplifted. I speak to you, not at you to attack you. Maybe when I'm through with this rhyme, I'll get a statue. So now I ask you, I tell you people literally, when it comes to writing funky lyrics, you are better than me. Down with BDP, endlessly reciting poetry. Many people know my style, they know my voice, they know it's me. KR, nope, I'm not ready to say my name yet. You know, like... But every time we would record it and then write down the verses and listen. So those are the biggest poetry influences because, you know, it was the poetry of the streets, and KRS-One was the first rapper, you know, to really be like, you know, I'm a poet. You know, the first single that came out was Criminal Minded and then Poetry. And this is like 1986, you know, I'm young as hell, and it's just like, whoa, you know, like his style of emceeing was brand new, you know, at the time, and we were so passionate about it because we would have to fight about it in school where kids, you know, with like Metallica or Whitesnake t-shirts, you know, and be like, it's not even music! My biggest poetry influences initially, you know. Now, you know, it changes over time, you know. At a certain point, I'd probably have to point to something like, you know, when I first started finding my voice, you know, something like an Amiri Barak maybe an Audre Lorde or the Last Poets. You know, were really influential at a certain point, only because I didn't grow up listening to that stuff. I was familiar with it, but I didn't grow up listening to it, and so at a certain point I heard it with new ears, like, oh shit, this is amazing. And this is the same thing that Biggie used in his song. You know, I'd be like, oh, this is where this sample comes from, you know? And, but then later on it became the Sufi poets, like, they've been huge for me, like Rumi, Hafiz, you know, I've been through a phase where it was all about, you know, like suicidal white women, like anyone, like, you know, stepped into Plath to like, you know, listen to fucking Portishead and Bjork, you know, like the more suicidal the better, you know, like, you know, about punk, you know, and they've all been influential, you know, and the thing that tripped me out about that was because I didn't know why I related to that shit so strongly. I remember watching like the Virgin Suicides and not knowing why I was crying. Well, I'm not supposed to be. Um,